Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video going to be talking about GPUs, specifically with this 4070 release, if we're going to start seeing cheaper GPU prices, right? Specifically for us miners, specifically looking at the 3000 series cards, right? So we're going to look at what happened, what it's looking like, how it's performing, and what the future outlook might look like, right? So if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned, all right? So let's get to it. So the card officially comes out tomorrow. Reviews went live today. Kind of bad news. Not necessarily bad news, but not what I was hoping for. What I was really hoping for is for it to outperform the 3080, right? Unfortunately, it looks like it's pretty much on par, and in certain games, a little bit under, right? So the main reason I was looking for it to outperform the 3080 was so that more people would be prone to upgrade to this guy versus the 3080. I think a lot of people were on the fence. This was the mid-lower tier card a lot of people were waiting for. And on that front, not what I was hoping for, although it's close enough where people may still decide to do that, right? So didn't get the news I wanted there, but one thing that has been happening that may lead to lower 3070, 3060 Ti, 3060 prices is all the stuff from gamers going on regarding needing more VRAM, right? So if we go through, a lot of the recent reviews have been talking about it, but if you go through YouTube, I'm sure you've been seeing like the performance reviews regarding pretty much needing at least 12 gigs of VRAM now, right? So you go through, Hardware Unboxed had a review. They had like 3-part series on this actually, talking about like the need for more VRAM essentially, right? And you go through, you'll see all these other titles. Please don't buy a 8 gig GPU, the death of 8 gig GPUs, etc., etc. So this plays in our favor though, right? Specifically because we want these gamers to upgrade so that they can sell their existing hardware so more supply goes on the market, and hopefully we get cheaper prices because of that, right? Because right now people are scooping them up and they've been essentially the same price since the merge, right? I've been waiting for deals, and I know a few of you guys have been able to catch some locally, right? But on eBay is where I'm kind of comparing prices, just because my local market hasn't really been any deals, right? So I've been eyeing eBay and getting like price ideas from there essentially. Adding on to that FUD, AMD kind of pokes fun at it. So they had a little article here on video cards. So they had a little article here. So AMD reminds gamers that Radeon the 6800 series with 16 gigs of VRAM is now available for less than $599. So they're essentially taking a hit on them. So if you go on videocards.com, it is a pretty interesting article. Kind of outlines a little bit more, and this is from AMD, right? So it's good advertising for them because a lot of their newer cards do have that increased amount of VRAM, right? So again, more good news if you're looking for those older 3000 series cards, specifically like the 8 gigs, right? So now, so the card comes out tomorrow, but shout out to Dizzy Mining. He actually put out a video today on Caspa. He got his hands on one. And pretty much, it's just like we saw with the video game world, it's pretty much on par with the 3080. Just more efficient. And I'm sure as the drivers come out officially tomorrow, maybe able to get more efficiency, but give or take, that's what it was. Realistically, it's not something I'm really concerned with because I'm not looking at spending $600 on one of these new cards, right? Realistically, I'm going to keep my eye on him. I'm curious about the performance, but with the intent of buying next year when the 5000 series drops, etc., right? But it is interesting. It is kind of cool. We'll see how efficient they get it, right? And that'll be the key thing. Specifically with these core intensive algos, like how it's going to do on, let's say, like Ergo or Raven or ProgPow, any of those coins. We'll see just because of that memory bus bandwidth, right? So now looking at prices, so 3080s have been dropping a little bit though. And this might be short-lived though, mainly because once the people really start catching up on the reviews of these, people might start picking them up more. But as we can see here, I have been, give or take, it had been ranging between like 450 to 480, sometimes 500, right? Depending on the card. The cheaper ones tend to be the OEM cards. So like they're super ugly. But for like these Dells, these HP OEMs, right now there's this one here. I actually had an offer for even lower, so it's at $400 for this one for a 3080. which isn't too bad. This guy looks like he's probably selling his farm because he has quite a few available, right? So they are going slight bit lower, but again, it might be short-lived just because people may end up actually picking up these versus the 4070. Again, the main difference being that the 4070 is more efficient. That's one thing where it does have it beat pretty significantly, is the power draw. Do gamers really care about the power draw though? Not really, right? They'd be more interested in a deal. And for about 200 bucks less, and especially because it may be hard to get, right? We'll find out tomorrow what the hype is. We'll see if it sells out instantly, which it probably will. A lot of people have been waiting for this one specifically, especially because the 4060 Ti and 4060 are probably going to be 8 gig, right? So hopefully maybe those come out cheap. We'll see. We'll see what the price looks like on there. They're supposed to drop next month, actually. But give or take, so there has been a couple here and there that are cheaper, but it's all been in that same range. The 3070s, though, have still been in that same range, right? We do see the occasional, like this guy's 330. It does have a fan that's out, which isn't too bad. One trend that has been coming up that I've been noticing is these like no-named refurbs, right? So watch out for these if you are in the market, especially if you're looking on eBay or if you're buying them locally. So a lot of these look like, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been catching those RPM streams. He just did one with the 3060 mobile, right? And previously, before that, he's done other streams showing those 3070 mobiles and these kind of like unofficial cards, right? And they've been making their way onto eBay lately. So if we go through and click on them, so this one does have a name, but it is eerily similar. Like if you look at the card design, like the back plate, to some of the ones that are like on Alibaba and stuff. The main giveaways being these like super generic fans, right? They have a generic sticker. In this case, they put the Manly sticker on there, whether it's like an actual OEM or if it's BS. I'm pretty sure it's just the Alibaba stuff, which if you go through and you search, people buy these in bulk, pretty much buy them for like 150, 200 bucks. You can roll the dice there and see if that's worth your while, but when you go through and look at them, they're very similar to those, right? So like this listing specifically does have the 3070, the mobile version though. So whether or not this eBay listing is for a mobile version, I'm not sure, but keep your eyes open. Notice the generic fan stickers, similar like weird little backplate designs. So keep that in mind if you're looking for these like no-name ones, right? Because there are others. That's one there. This one I've been seeing quite a bit. Also, you can see here there's two listings. There are others, like here's another one, for example. This one does list it as the mobile version though, right? But this is highly inflated, especially comparing it to like Alibaba prices. So that's what a lot of these guys are doing. They're taking that chance. They're buying them in bulk, buying, let's say, 100 of them, and then just dumping them on eBay. So keep in mind that these are not going to have any kind of warranty, no kind of RMA process. Who knows what the condition was like? We all seen those videos of people like, taking them apart, recoloring them, making them look new. Is this that? Could be. Maybe, maybe not. Is it worth the risk? 150 bucks. Not too bad. It's working out for these eBay sellers because they're slinging them at like 350 and people are buying them, right? But just be aware of that, right? So if you see these, they have a no name. Luckily, this one does have it listed as a mobile version, but the key giveaway is going to be like the backplate design and just these like generic looking fans, right? So keep that in mind in case you are looking, because there are quite a few, right? You go through there, we saw those two. Keep scrolling down, you'll see more and more. Here's another one. Again, the giveaway is just those super, super generic looking little fan stickers. They're being marked as refurb. If you look at this one, it looks like it's dirty as heck. But keep in mind, that's what's going on, right? These guys are like buying them in bulk and they're flipping them on eBay. So just be aware of what you're buying, right? Who knows if it'll last? Who knows how good it is? But again, look for those designs, look for those generic looking fans, and the fact that there is just no name brand on it, right? So just be on the lookout for that. If we look for 3060 Ti's, about the same range, guys. And then like the 280, 300 range, again, it's still been hovering here. So overall, not many reductions, but as time goes on, especially after tomorrow, hopefully we'll start seeing these come down a little bit more. Realistically, they may just hover in this range though, right? So the big question I've been getting a lot is, am I buying, right? Currently, no. Unless I find a deal that's good enough, right? If I'm finding 3070s at like, my good price would be like 200 bucks, right? If I'm seeing at 200 or less, I would consider, but realistically, I'm even considering dumping what I do have right now, right? I'm down to my last like 12 or 13 cards. I do have them all on Casper right now. I'm kind of waiting for Ironfish. When that comes out, I'll be mining that for a little bit. And then just kind of debating, right? Realistically, like kind of torn, right? There's so many changes that are coming. I know right now everything looks profitable, right? We have Caspa, we have Dynex, we have, Nexa, we have RXD. All these things look good, but what has me a little bit concerned is the fact that all of these, not all of them, but a good chunk of them will be going away. They will be going to FPGAs and then ASICs, right? Not too many of them are committed to GPU mining. So like Nexa, we know is going to go that route. Radiant wants to go that route. Aletheum wants to go that route. And Caspa's already on their way, right? So just keep that in mind. If you look at the top profitable coins, they're kind of all going in that direction. So then what's going to happen? Once those do go to FPGA, what's going to happen? They're all going to go down to these other projects, which is going to make them unprofitable, right? Unless certain things come out, like the one that probably won't would be like Dynex because of what they're doing and the way their algorithm works. And we do have other things coming out. So we have like Ironfish coming out. We have just a lot of stuff, right? A lot of changes coming up. So it's hard to really say what's going to be the best buys, right? So these are things to factor in. That's why I'm kind of more on the fence. And that's actually kind of why a big part of the reason I jumped into some FPGAs, right? So I did buy two of them. I did buy that Molt Miner M2, and I did pick up that E100, right? The Osprey, just that single board one, just because I'm not fully sold. I just wanted to kind of get a little bit in, right? Because it's just hard to tell what's going to happen here. It's hard to tell if we're going to get access to these bit streams, so it's kind of risky. Yes, but I mean, that's part of the reason I'm debating on selling some of the GPUs, right? Just to kind of offset the price of those FPGAs. But realistically, I'm waiting till I actually have them in hand. I don't want to sell them now, and then both of those things get delayed like 2 months, and then I'm screwed, right? I want to wait till I have them in hand, see how they do. If I feel good, then maybe I'll go from there, right? Because a lot of stuff's going to be changing. It's hard to tell where the market's really going, right? We have all these things going on like we just saw. Any of you guys caught that? So I may not be buying GPUs, but Elon is, right? These aren't going to be like 3080s that he's buying, though. He's buying probably like those Hopper, those H100s or those A100s. And that's another facet, right? Proof of use for work coming out. We're going to see what's the most beneficial there. We're going to need different configurations for those things. I know Octominer is going to release that new server thing for proof of use for work. We know like Aleo's coming out. There's a lot of stuff coming, a lot of changes coming. So I'm kind of on the sidelines, kind of just going to be waiting it out, just keeping an eye on the market and see where things go, right? So just wanted to give you guys a quick little update just so you can, in case you were thinking, I know some people have been thinking about it. And again, if I see a good enough deal, I would definitely jump on it. Like those 4080s at 400 bucks kind of had me thinking. Realistically, though, it does need to be a little bit lower, especially considering thinking of selling some of mine. And that's actually what I sold off the most around the time of the merge was my less efficient cards. So like my 3080s, 3090s, those are the ones I dumped first just because of efficiency, right? So just some things to think about. And then hopefully we do get some more news when that 4060 Ti drops, and that'll really give us a really good ballpark of where things are going. Because if it's only $100 less, if it's $499, then the 3060 Ti's and 3070s may not even drop much more, right? So we'll see how everything plays out. Again, I'm sitting on the sidelines, just kind of waiting to see where the trends go, right? Waiting to see what happens, if any bit streams get released, because like let's say all these things are going to be game changers, right? A lot of changes coming up for GPU mining and just GPU purchasing in general, right? So you got to stay ahead of the game. You got to see what's going on. That way you can kind of see where the price trends are going, right? So it's important to kind of keep your eyes open to these things. All right, guys. So again, just wanted to give you that quick little update. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know if any of you guys are upgrading. If any of you guys are thinking again of 4070, Been kind of debating upgrading this 3080, but definitely not to a 4070 as it's pretty much the same freaking thing. Been debating on some of those 4090s because they've been dropping a bit. Right now, also another little tidbit. If any of you guys have been looking on StockX, they've been quite a few have been selling for about 1450 to 1500. If any of you guys are looking, a lot of people don't really use StockX, but it's resellers that essentially got stuck with them, right? So I've been selling, or not been selling, but I've been seeing there's been about 3 different sales that were under 1500 for the MSI, which is the crappier one, but something to keep your eye on. All right, guys. Again, thank you for watching, and I am out.